Well, hey there, friends. Welcome back to the Christian Marriage Podcast. And last time we did the introduction. I just wanted to talk about marriage in general, and especially who should be marrying. If you're a Christian, you shouldn't be marrying a non-Christian. If you're just marrying and you're neither one Christian, then that's fine. But for it to be Christian marriage, it has to be between two born-again disciples of Christ. That's determinative. Today I want to talk about premarital counseling. So you're going to get married, and you probably the subject of premarital counseling has come up. One of you might be for it, one of you might be against it. I've had both men and women on either side of that issue. So it's not always just the men that don't want to do it. Sometimes the ladies don't want to do it. But let me encourage you to do it. It's very important that you do. And it's very important that you have someone help you with it. Okay, so for example, if a couple comes to me, I want to conduct premarital counseling. As a matter of fact, I require it. If I'm going to do the wedding, I require premarital counseling. The reason I do is because you can't see the things that I can see, because you're right there. I mean, it's every day front and center, and those things that are closest to us we're blindest to. And so you need a third party, you need an uninterested observer, someone who can look from the outside in and just dispassionately examine the relationship. You need that. That's why I was going to say you can't self-diagnose, because you'll miss it every time. And you might think that, oh, you're a perfect match. And I cannot tell you how many couples, maybe all of them, that have come to me for marriage have said, oh, we're just the perfect match. And then they get in premarital counseling and they find out that they're not. And I mean, it can be over little silly things. Like I know a couple, they've been married for, 45 years now. And when they married, and they didn't go through counseling, they just got married. When they married, she found out, or was it he, one of them found out that the other one liked to put the toilet paper in the holder a certain way. And the other party in the marriage was raised to put it on the opposite way. And I don't know which one it was. Let's just say it was the lady. She decided that she'd married some sort of barbarian. How could anybody to think that, the toilet paper coming over the top of the roll is the right way for it to come out? It should come out from the back of the roll. And that's silly. But you see, you'll never see that coming unless you have someone help you with it and sort of point things out. Now that's a silly thing, but there are more serious things that can happen. And even sometimes the silly things can become very serious. So you need to have someone help you walk through the relationship and just point out things that are, maybe going to be pitfalls. Let's say that you decide to do premarital counseling. Your counselor, he will probably require some sort of an inventory for you to fill out. Let me show you the one I use. I use this. It's called Pre-Marriage Awareness Inventory, and it's published by the Logos Publishing Group. And I've been using this inventory for all of my ministry life, 40 plus years now of doing weddings. I've been using the Premarital Awareness Inventory. I don't even know if they still have these out. I'm sure they do, but I've not ordered some in a while because I had so many and I've used them so much that I've not had to purchase any recently. But this is a wonderful little tool. It covers 10 areas, from expectations to religion, and things like lifestyle and sexuality and finances and family and friends, conflict resolution, personality, relating style, feelings, how you share feelings, how you communicate with one another. So what this does for me as the counselor is, once the couples fill this out, and they have one, each party, man and a woman, will have one of these, and they will fill them out separately so that they're not helping each other fill them out, because I want honest results, you know, in the survey. And then they'll hand it back into me and I'll score them. And basically what it does is it shows me where the red flags are, you know, so it'll point out the problem areas. And then it's just a matter of discussing them. I will point out the problem areas to them where they disagree, and I'll also point out the areas where they agree and where they have a lot of strength. I always like to point out the areas where they find a lot of strength, because it helps encourage them in their relationship, because without fail, the couple will come in and they'll be holding hands and, oh, we're a perfect match, we never disagree, and then they'll do the inventory and I'll score it and come back the next session and say, okay, here are the problems, let's go through these. And then they're looking at each other like, who are you? I don't even know who you are. And those are perfect opportunities for the couple to begin to talk, because that's the key. That's the key to all the problems in a marriage, is communication. You have to talk about it. I always tell the couples that I counsel that there are 5 areas. There are 5 areas that will trip up every couple if they're not careful. Finances, family, faith, sexuality, and communication. And communication is essential to each one. It stands alone, but it's also essential to each one of these areas. You must be able to communicate about finances, about family, about faith, and about sexuality. If you don't, you are doomed to failure. You must be able to handle these 5 things. And so premarital counseling gives you tools to do just that. So don't be afraid when you go into your counselor and he hands you a premarital awareness inventory or some other kind of inventory or tool that he wants you to fill out so that he can help you with counseling. Premarital counseling usually runs 3 to 8 weeks. You know, normally I'll take couples through an 8-week course. Sometimes I'll shorten it down depending on the couple and how much the inventory is pointed out. Sometimes it may be a little longer than 8 weeks, maybe 9 weeks. So, and if they come to me and they say, well, can you marry us this weekend? I'll always say no, because if you're just suddenly getting married off the short end of some romantic adventure, then the answer is going to be, for me, no way. No way. We need to talk about this before you do it. You need to have good counsel before you go into a covenant like marriage. Another thing that I'll require, and a lot of premarital counselors and pastors will require, is some sort of reading. And I'll always hand a couple this book, 5 Love Languages. This is in, I have no idea what printing now. This has been around for a long time. This is an excellent book. You want to improve your communication skills with your significant other? This is the book you want. You want to be able to communicate according to your love language. Do you know what your love language is? Well, that book will help you find out, and it'll point out what the love language of your intended is as well. That's important. Being able to know how to speak their love language is very, very important. So I highly recommend that book. It's by Gary Chapman. Like I say, it's been around for a very long time. It's not hard to find. So the premarital counselor will require you to do some reading. He'll require you to do some inventory work, and then the counseling sessions, which usually last about an hour. I try to make them as fun as possible. I will take them out to eat. I'll take the couple out to eat, and at my expense a couple times during that period. We'll have sessions where we can, just sit down and talk, and we'll, do some hard work. And I'll send them home with some homework, nothing written or reading necessarily, but they've already got the reading portion. I want them to read through that, but I also want them to, if we bring up something that is difficult, then they're to go home and talk about it, and the next time they're going to report to me about how they talked about it. Premarital counseling needs to be done ahead of time. Do not wait until the last minute, because if you wait until the last minute and you uncover something that you think is a problem, you don't need to be getting married the next weekend, especially, if it's a big problem. You need to hang on. And so I encourage you to do it, to front load premarital counseling onto your plans. Find someone who will do a good job, do a thorough job, who will be honest with you, who will point out the problems, because I guarantee you, no matter how perfect you think your match is, you're going to find problems if you allow someone else to do the examination. They are less likely to be kindly disposed to your union, so they'll tell you the truth, and that's what you need. You need someone who's going to be a truth teller, who's going to point out issues, see the landmines, encourage you to talk about that, require you to talk about that, to do some important reading, and to think about marriage before you get married. You need to begin to think about and plan what the best tools are, what the best way is for you to conduct your marriage, okay? So let me just end by saying this. If you're planning on marriage, please do it. Please have premarital counseling. If your partner doesn't want to do premarital counseling, it's painless. This is not like going to the dentist. It's painless. It's just a few weeks. And if they just refuse, absolutely refuse, then, maybe that's a sign for you. That if they don't want to work on a marriage that hasn't even happened yet, are they going to be willing to work on a marriage that they're in and that they're bound to? So premarital counseling is important. It's significant. It has helped many, and it will help you. Reading the 5 Love Languages book, doing the inventory, or whatever kind of instrument that your counselor uses is important to do. Please do it. Let me encourage you to please do it. Next time, I'm going to talk about the covenant ceremony versus the party. And then after that, we're going to talk about the elements of a covenant ceremony and some fun things in there, and then some other things that, are important, significant, that need to be a part of your wedding. It doesn't need to be excluded. So let me put it like that. So we'll do a comparison between the covenant and the party next time. And I hope this has helped. And I hope that in the midst of your planning, that you're considering front-loading some premarital counseling into your plans. It's not expensive. It's just a little time-consuming, but it's okay. That's time well spent. All right. Well, I love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Christian Marriage Podcast.
Thank you.